Residents of a town just north of Edmonton have narrowly voted in favor of banning non-governmental flags and non-standard crosswalks from public land. That means symbolic statements like the town's only rainbow paint crosswalk will no longer be allowed.
The council's tried very hard to say that we are against the Pride community, but for us, it is not the group they chose to promote. It's the fact that they're promoting any group whatsoever. We really think the government should remain neutral. We have no problem with private citizens trying to facilitate harmony and good relationships between the Pride community or any minority community in our town.
Last night's vote in Westlock came after a petition calling on council to adopt a bylaw ensuring government neutrality. It was a narrow victory with just a 24-vote margin in favor. Westlock is now the first in Alberta to adopt this type of legislation. Joining us now from Westlock is the mayor, Jon Kramer. So, Mr. Kramer, thank you for coming on Canada Tonight. This new bylaw, the removal of the crosswalk, was not something that you or council had voted on. How do you feel about it?
You know, as a council, we are deeply disappointed, but we're not discouraged. I firmly believe that Westlock is a kind and caring community, but this is proof that change is just incredibly hard for some people. And so as elected officials, the core of our work is roads, it's sewers, it's water into your house, but part of the job is also to help the community work through challenges like this one, all the while trying to hold space for one another. And this is tough. It's been tough, but at the end of the day, having a bylaw like this on the books will not affect our council's commitment to inclusion.
But will it affect people from feeling welcome in Westlock, Alberta?
And that's the risk. As you mentioned before, our elected officials all came out in opposition to this bylaw when it came to us in November. We defeated it, but again, the way the Municipal Government Act works here in Alberta, after the petition went around and the numbers were reached, when it came to us, we only had two options: either pass it as is or to defeat it and put it to plebiscite. And as elected officials, we are committed to data-driven decision-making, and we made it very clear to our residents that 100% of the data says this was a bad bylaw. Our federal government, our provincial government, our municipal neighbors, we all use public infrastructure to promote diversity and inclusion. This is not anything new, but ultimately our residents have decided, but again, in no way does this alter our trajectory as a municipality when it comes to inclusive planning and initiatives.
I mean, what do you think it says broadly to the earlier question about, Westlock, Alberta? What do you think the signal is to the wider community, not only in Alberta, but across the country, about inclusion that you talk about?
It's tough. It's tough. That's why we rejected this bylaw in the first place, because we know it's tough. But again, the future is inclusive. When diversity makes a home in your community, we know as elected officials, there's both the incredible opportunity as well as the responsibility to respond proactively in an inclusive way. And the tough part is that the path forward isn't always a straight shot, because change is hard for people. But to our residents as a council, and most importantly to our Thunder Alliance GSA, we have made it clear to them that our council is unwavering in our commitment to making sure that they will have a sense of belonging and safety in their community.
Have you talked to members of the community that were in favor of removing this crosswalk, not having pride flags around, and what their rationale is, why they think that is necessary right now, why this should be a priority?
Yeah, but it's difficult to understand, right? It's hard to navigate our differences. But again, that's the job of elected officials and even just residents in a town our size, is that you hold space for one another, you listen for one another, and then try to make your way forward.
Is the plan doing anything to support people that may feel alienated by this?
100%. The future is inclusive. That's non-negotiable. And so as a council now, we're a little limited, right, in that we won't be able to use crosswalks and flagpoles. And those are the most common ones because they're the most cost effective, right? But inclusion is a deeply creative act. And so at the end of the day, no, of course, we're not out of options just because crosswalks and flags are out of the question. And so we've made it clear to our Thunder Alliance GSA, keep the communication lines open, let us know what you want, what you need, and we're willing to work with you to make this place feel like home.
All right, Mr. Mayor, appreciate the time this evening. That is Jon Kramer, the mayor of Westlock, Alberta, joining us from that town this evening.